Hi, everyone. I'm Ulrika, and I'm very happy that I have had the opportunity to, for about 2 decades, work in different leadership positions in different companies, at different cross-functions, and at different levels within those organizations. And there are some similarities that I picked up on over these years. There are 2 common denominators. One is people, and the other is change. And if you combine those 2, you have the human aspects of change. And in the world that we are living in today, we talk about it all the time, that change is happening so fast, and there's so many uncertainties. And I suggest that to be able to cope with that and to handle those adaptive changes that we face every day, we need to update our own internal operating system. And if we do that, we would be more aware of what's going on, both in ourselves, in others, and around in the world. And that would help us hold more perspectives. And if we could be able to hold more perspectives, that would be more inclusive, and we could benefit from the diversity that is available. And that will help us to collaborate even better, right? I also hear a lot of talk about that the system needs to change. Yes, we need to have a shift in the system, but we are the ones who are creating the system, and we are maintaining it. So I suggest, again, start with yourself, and when that has an effect on those that are around you, that will also eventually, together, we will be able to do the shift that is needed for the system. And to be really blunt, the inner game really outrules the outer game. But we have such focus on the outer game, on the results and the performance and the achievements. And when we don't get the results that we want, we focus even harder on the things that we do, gain more knowledge, train ourselves, have more competence, practice our skills, and gain more experience. And that's really good. We need to do that. But is it enough? That's my question. I think that we need to look inwards and to think about the emotions that we have and how they affect our feelings and how the feelings affects the way we think. Because that will stipulate what we do and how we do it. It stipulates our behaviors, and in a sense that will also make a difference to the results and the achievements that we go about and try to go about in the business today. So trying to focus inwards, figuring out your own meaning making, making sense of your own meaning making, trying to hold more perspectives. And to be able to do that, we need to practice our ability to be objective. And to be able to objectively view what we previously held as the truth. So what is stopping us? There are some hinders in the way, right? For instance, we have a tendency to focus a lot on what is tangible. Processes, tools, way of working, how we organize our work and how we organize ourselves. That is something that is needed, but it's just part of the truth and part of the answer. So another hinder could be that we still reward, and we are rewarded according to old measures. And those measures are based on performance, usually, and results. And another hinder that we have is that we have our wonderful brains. It's a really good tool. I'm happy I have it. But it takes a lot of energy to use it. So we have features in here that is energy saving, such as avoiding threats, which is not very good if you want to try to do new things. It could be a little bit scary to try to do new things. And then it's hindering you. Another thing that is that it makes shortcuts. And due to the shortcuts, we tend to be on autopilot. We continue to do the things that we are used to doing. And that makes us less aware of what's happening around us. And we do that because it's comfortable and it feels safe. Another hinder that we have is that we feel that we need we have an urge to belong. This is very human. We have an urge to belong. And as we adapt to situations and to people around us, because we want to be accepted, and we want to feel that we're good enough, and therefore we adapt, and that could be a hinder. Other hinders is that we tend to overestimate ourselves. We think that we're better than we are. And you know, like if they over there could change a little bit, it would be so much better. I don't have to change. But if they just did it a little bit differently, then that would be great. We also have a tendency to be unaware of our own pitfalls. We might be aware of our strength, but we're not that aware when we overuse them and they become a liability. So what can we do? The easy answer to that question is to be curious. But it's so easy to say, and it's very difficult to do. So I suggest that start with yourself. Be curious about yourself. Try to be a little bit more self-aware. If we were 100 people and I would ask, do you feel that you're self-aware? 95 people of us would answer, yes, I'm self-aware. I know what I need. I know what my strengths are. I know how I affect other people around me and so on. But studies show that it's just 10 to 15 of us that actually are self-aware. So start being curious about yourself. Look inwards. And another thing that I think is also important is that we prioritize this. So you take the time. It needs effort. And if you feel alone in it, have a buddy that you could help and talk to and do this together with. I would like to end with a metaphor. Most of us use smartphones, right? And when we want to download an app on the smartphone, we do that, no problem. But sometimes there is a problem because you need a specific software on that smartphone to be able to download the app. So what do? We update the smartphone, and then we download the app and we start using it. So my question is, if we want to be more flexible, more adaptable, and be able to handle uncertainty, then I ask all of us the question, do we have the right internal operating system to be able to use those apps? And finally, I would end by saying that remember that you're always practicing something, even if you're not consciously practicing, for instance, being a new version of yourself or being a new you, you are unconsciously practicing being the current you, keeping the status quo. Thank you.